Hey guys, so last year I picked up a used Peavey Windsor head. I figured 100-watt tube head, $200, JCM 800 clone, why not? And for a little while it was a lot of fun to play around with. I'm sure it's a great studio amp as far as if you're trying to get that tone, but eventually it got put on the shelf collecting dust, and I decided to make it a project. I would take the chassis out and then build a new cabinet for it. Well, I ended up scratching that idea and instead doing a little customizing to the cabinet and modding. I changed out a couple of the preamp tubes, hoping to get a little more clean headroom and maybe make it a 100-watt amp that you can gig with pedals. Because I noticed even before I did anything to it, it really likes pedals. You can put pedals in front of it. I love the effects loop, the way it takes pedals. So take you through the process in some video and some photos. Again, initially this was going to be a build the new cabinet, so there maybe a few times you hear me talk about doing that. Obviously I scrapped that idea, but let's check it out.
Well, day one of the rebuilding a new amp cabinet for this head, and for surprise these are already new tubes, or at least have been replaced, and something was spilled at some point on this thing. So we got the chassis out, box is empty. Of course the chassis I'm going to use, I just will probably switch around this preamp section. If it hasn't been already, it's got covers on them, so for all I know, when these were changed, these were changed. Who knows, they may not be 12AX7s, but we'll see. Alright, so went ahead and opened these up, and yes, these tubes were also replaced, but they were still AX7s. They were JJs, just like the EL34s were. So what I did was I put an AU7 here in the first position, and an AT7 here in the second position. I also decided to switch out that jewel with a purple one, since I'm probably going to pair this with a cabinet with a purple face on the baffle. Now, one thing that has changed, originally I was going to build a whole new cabinet for this, and circumstances dictate that I actually am going to want to be using this amp sooner than thought. And so what I'm going to do is do a little bit of an accent to the original Windsor case. So let's get to that. Alright, so now I've taken all the tape off. I think it came out really nice. I've started putting some of the hardware back on. I didn't go with a complete wrap. I decided to do just some accents with a snakeskin Tolex that I ordered. I believe it was like 54-inch wide by, I'm not exactly sure. It was like 3 yards, or excuse me, a yard, like 3 feet of a snakeskin Tolex. I think it looks really nice. And then I went ahead and put some nice new big feet on these. For comparison, you can see the ones that were on here. And now I'm going to reinstall the chassis and put the rest of the cosmetics on it. Alright, got the chassis reinstalled, all secured. I actually toyed with maybe, since I had already bought some plexi, because originally I was going to put a plexi face on the custom cabinet build. But I think I'll just go ahead and reinstall the grate. And then put the little bit of cosmetics. I think I'll just put the Peavey label back on. I don't know if I'm going to put the Windsor label back on the front. And let's get this thing powered up and see how it sounds.
Well, I definitely increased the headroom on the clean side. It does still want to break up once you get to really high levels, but I think with a little more tweaking, I could probably get a pretty good sound out of it, and it would actually be really functional. It sounded great with the pedals, of course. Apologize for the cell phone audio. This was really more about the modifications and the customizations I did on the head rather than demonstrating the head, since you pretty much know what a Windsor head already sounds like. And knowing that, obviously, this wouldn't be what you would normally start with. It was just something I had sitting around. It was less than $20 for, or excuse me, less than $30 for a couple new tubes, and then a little bit of elbow grease. So I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, I think a little tweaking it'll sound even better. And for a couple $100, you got a 100-watt tube head that I think can go ahead and gig, play some shows with, whatever you need to do with it. Well, hope you guys enjoyed that. Remember, if you like what I'm doing here, be sure to like and subscribe. You don't have to be a prodigy to have fun. I'll check you guys out later.